The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
You know who doesn't get enough credit? Jayson Tatum. I know that's kind of a weird statement, considering he's in the MVP conversation, widely regarded as the best player on the best team. No one denies his talent or his skill. But Jayson Tatum doesn't get enough credit. At least not enough credit for being out there every single opportunity. I'm trying to think back over the last couple seasons. Took a day off for Deuce's birthday along the way, but other than that, it's really been a fight to keep Jayson Tatum off the court. The team pretty much has to beg him to sit out games, maybe at the finish line of a season, maybe during a really busy week. And maybe he'll actually take a couple games this week, this month, whatever the case may be, and downshift. But on a Sunday night on League Pass in Washington, D.C., Jayson Tatum wanted to be out there. And on a night the Celtics didn't have three starters, he lit the fuse and helped them build a comfortable enough lead where he could throw the keys to the rest of the crew and get them to the finish line. What's up, everybody? Postgame Pod 67 coming to you after the Celtics take down the Washington Wizards 130-104. The result not terribly surprising, even without Jaylen Brown, even without Kristaps Porzingis, and even without Derek White. The Celtics just completely shredded the hapless Wizards. It was interesting. It was interesting for maybe, first 4 minutes. Then Tatum got hot, scored 18 first quarter points, got his 30, watched Sam Hauser flirt with the record, and we'll get into that in a minute. And the Celtics were comfortably cruising to the finish line. Our broadcast there was a sign they were showing some people in the crowd at the start of the game, and a little girl had a sign that said, "I postponed my surgery to see you play." I'm hopeful that it was, some elective minor surgery that this poor child needs. But it is a little bit of a reminder that that arena was probably 80% Celtics fans. The listed attendance was like 20,300 people. And if they really did put that many people in those seats last night or this night, then I suspect 75% of them were wearing green, and not just because it was St. Patrick's Day. And a lot of those people either traveled there to see Jayson Tatum, paid big money to see Jayson Tatum. NBA games are not cheap. I can tell you it's hard to get tickets in Boston, and sometimes it's easier to go on the road. And sometimes it's more fun, too. I'll tell you, I brought some friends along to the last time I was at a game in D.C., and it was highly entertaining. And we might still talk about that game to this day. It was an overtime game. Kyrie hit some big shots. Anyway, I'm digressing here. Jayson Tatum deserves a lot of credit for being available, for being out there every night. He will have no trouble hitting the 65-game threshold that will deliver him to All-NBA status. His future contract is already secured. He does not have to worry about hitting any more All-NBA triggers, I believe, to ensure his payday this summer. And yet, Tatum wants to be out there, and he just wants to play basketball. And if he's going to make a trip to D.C., he might as well make the most of it. And I just think he deserves a lot of credit for being perpetually available. You always hear the cliche that the best ability is availability. And for a Celtics team that has perpetually been bitten by the injury bug, it's impressive what Tatum has been able to do, the durability he has shown. I'm trying not to knock on every piece of wood in sight based on what happened in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but Tatum has been so good, and protect him at all costs. And I do think Celtics fans would like to see him downshift a little bit here at the finish line of the regular season. I think you'll get your wish. I do think they will plead with Jayson Tatum to take at least a couple nights off to the finish line of this season. But every opportunity he gets that they will let him play, he's going to be out here. The other big storyline here is obviously Sam Hauser. As I record, Joe Mazzulla had said that Sam was going to get an X-ray. I suspect they'll need an MRI to check ligaments and stuff like that. So did call it precautionary, but you could tell Sam knew immediately. I mean, just for if on the off chance you didn't see this game and the Celtics 3-point barrage, kind of crazy that Sam got to 10 3-pointers, one away from tying the Celtics team record of 11 set by Marcus Smart a couple years ago, and still 22 minutes to play in this game, and yet he's unable to get to the finish line. They actually got up a shot with a chance to tie the record and missed, and as he's watching the trajectory of it, he going back pedaling or moving to the side, hits a foot on the Wizards bench and turns his ankle, went to the ground. Could tell right away that he knew his night was done. Celtics ruled him out pretty quickly after that. The fact that he was able to get up, kind of walk off, is an encouraging sign. You know, sometimes you guys stay down for a while when it's a higher grade sprain. But let's cross our fingers that it's something that they can manage over the next couple of weeks. One of the great things about the Celtics team is that they've been able to keep the momentum going even when missing bodies. And let tonight be another example of that. This whole stretch where you haven't had Kristaps Porzingis as you build a little bit of a winning streak. So I do think they will just tread cautiously with this. You need Sam in the playoffs. He's shown that important. You don't need 10 3-pointers in a game to hammer that home. And so, and the one thing I will walk away, you're going to hear Payton Pritchard talking to Abby later as part of our post-game coverage. And I thought he said something that just really resonated for me. It's just, you know, as we're all fretting that he didn't get the chance to get the record in this game, Payton kind of just like offhanded, like, yeah, he'll get it eventually. And you don't want to argue with him, right? Like, it does feel like eventually Sam's going to hit 11, 12, I don't know. We start talking about the NBA record. Sometimes that shot looks so pure, just a matter of making sure he gets enough shots. And there will be games like this over the course of a season where there'll be ample opportunity to get those shots up. But most importantly, you're not going to need 10 3-pointers from Sam in the playoffs, but you're going to need him to be impactful. And so you got to get him healthy. Got to make sure he's out there. And let's hope that it ends up being just a short absence for Sam Hauser. All right, here's more from our post-game coverage.
Eddie, what'd you like most about this win here tonight?
Well, I love that Sam Hauser was out there just getting money. I don't like the fact that he got injured at the end, but the way he was just shooting that basketball as a shooter, I love it. I watched him in Portland and Utah. It's the same shot every time. The trajectory, the rotation, and the fact of the matter is he had a chance to break the record. That's what I'm upset at, really, is that he had a chance to really break the record. He had it going. Guys were finding him, and he was feeling himself out. That's the biggest takeaway from this game, because the Washington Wizards are who the Washington Wizards are. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're at the bottom of the league for a reason. Not a very good basketball team, but we went out there, took care of business, and I love the fact that Sam Hauser was able to go out there and let it fly.
It's a total moment for Sam. The one other thing I will say, we've heard Jayson Tatum make a whole thing about, you know, playing Monday nights on League Pass in Charlotte. He also deserves credit for being one of the only starters out there on a Sunday night against a terrible DC team on League Pass. And because I love that he just wants to play, that the team has to pretty much beg him to take days off. There was a girl in the crowd, they showed her early on, that said, I postponed my surgery to be here tonight and see Tatum. Like, that's why a lot of fans show up. That's why you hear so much green in the crowd. I respect that Jayson Tatum wants to be out there, that he is the ultimate hooper, that he just wants to play. And I do think they will find spots for him over the finish line of this season, if nothing more than to calm everybody who fears something like what happened to Sam Hauser and an injury. But, man, give Tatum credit to go out there, 18 points in the first quarter, set the tone on this game. Not that it was really ever in question, but I just respect that on a night a lot of guys could have downshifted and decided to take the night off. Tatum wanted to be out there.
30 points for Jayson Tatum, 30 points for Sam Hauser, and then you had 14 apiece for 3 other guys, including Payton Pritchard, who also had 13 assists. He's standing by with Abby Chin.
Payton, no KP, no JB, no D White, no problem. What were you guys looking to work on out here tonight?
I don't know if there was something we were trying to work on, just to, play the right type of basketball, and what we've been trying to do all year. Obviously, Sam had an unbelievable night. I truly think he probably would have broke the record tonight, but he'll get it another time, but it was a good team win.
Yeah, what was that like being on the floor with him? How did you guys keep finding him?
I mean, I tell people all the time, in my opinion, Sam is the best shooter, he's in the top shooters in the league. So for us, it's like anytime he's open, we got to find him because it's almost automatic for sure.
I mean, you know what that feels like. You've been there. A double-double for you tonight. What was your mindset coming in?
Just make the right plays. I mean, I feel like I'm a point guard. Like my game is a point guard. Sometimes I play off ball, but like when I have the ball in my hands, always trying to get my guys easy shots. When I can score, I'll score. But just play efficiently and make the right plays. You
did that, a career high in assists. How would you describe that connection between you and Luke?
Oh man, that's my dog. So he's always there to like help me out if I get stuck. Just throw it by the rim. He's gonna finish it. So he took a big step this year. He's playing tremendous. So
has that entire reserve unit. But you guys have won 4 straight here. What do you like best about the way you're playing?
Just that we play in the right way. We playing for each other. It's somebody's night. It's a different guy's night every night. So, and that's beautiful basketball right there.
Payton, congratulations. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Abby. Meanwhile, you take a look at some of the history of this win and some of the numbers. And these numbers presented by the Massachusetts Health Connector. Losing Mass Health? Need health insurance for any reason? Visit the Massachusetts Health Connector. Act now and stay covered at mahealthconnector.org. Okay, so the 30 points for Sam Hauser, career high. The 10 three-pointers in 23 minutes. And you heard, of course, Drew Carter mentioned this. Fewest minutes to make 10 threes in NBA history. The 13 assists for Payton Pritchard. That's also the most off of the bench by a Celtics since 1994. It's 45 points in the first quarter. I mean, you list them off. 80-plus points. Chris, this one maybe is my favorite. The 80-plus points in the first half, that's the third time that's happened in the last month and a half. It didn't happen once for 32 years.
I mean, you did see basketball in the 90s for the Celtics, right?
That is true.
Okay.
That is absolutely true.
But the fact that it hasn't happened since any time, in this 10-year stretch here, especially since 08 and so that's impressive.
All right, let's bring in Scal and Drew right now. And there they are. My guys, there's Drew giving a nice little wave. Did you enjoy that one, what we saw from the Celtics here on St. Patrick's Day?
My goodness. I mean, everyone's wearing green. St. Patrick's Day. I went out and panic bought this thing so I could be wearing some green because I knew Abby Chin was going to bring it. Didn't realize Scal wouldn't at all. But look, I mean, tons of Celtics fans in the house, and they got a show today.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they played with Sam Hauser moving around, knocking down shots like that, they're impossible to guard. And it is cool when you see guys are out and other players get opportunities and they have career nights. You just know. And for me, it's always like there's some haters out there that don't understand how good the Celtic bench is, whether it be Cornette and how much he's improved, Sam Hauser, Payton Pritchard, Osei Brissett. I mean, like across the board, these guys have delivered all year. And I just think it's really nice when they get a chance to play and they do something like what we saw today.
If there are any haters out there, I look at them and I say, bench, the Celtics can play 1 through 10.
No question. They got a great bench.
No question.
All right, then, Scal, who's the guy who's made the biggest progress? Sam obviously always could knock down shots, but has avoided the slumps this year. You got Payton being a positive every time he's out there. You got Cornette looking like a completely different player from when he first arrived here. Which of those bench guys has made the biggest strides?
I think, and this is only from my perspective, I wasn't sure about Luke Cornette being a rotational player in the playoffs. I'm pretty certain that he's a rotational player in the playoffs. And if it's not for us, it's for somebody because, like, Cornette owns his space, and that's the most important thing. Can you own your space? Can you rebound your position? Can you defend your position? And Cornette's doing all those things. And I just feel like he's bouncier than he was when he started. I think he's reading the game better. I think his improvement from what I thought he was to what he is has been the biggest jump for me.
I agree. I just want to show some love to Payton Pritchard, too, who goes from wanting out to signing a contract to becoming, one of their better bench players and putting up his first double-double of the season today. So shout out to Crypto P.
Playing in this atmosphere today obviously felt probably more like a home game than an away game. What does that do for you guys, and what is that experience like from your standpoint?
I mean, it does both, right? It probably pisses the other team off, and so it's a kind of little bit of a duality to where you have a responsibility and ownership to the Celtics. At the same time, you have to take on that expectation because that the other team probably feels some type of way about it. So it's both, and it should put us in a space to execute, play hard. I told the guys after the game, regardless of the game, regardless of who's playing, I appreciate the way we compete at a high level. That's the most important thing.
Pretty impressive. And the most impressive to me was that everything was within the flow of the offense. You know, it wasn't like, you know, he was hunting the shots or anything like that. Like, we just played our game, and guys were mindful, you know, when he was there, you know, get him the ball, but it was just playing. So it was pretty impressive to see him, and I mean, I was hoping he was going to go for 15. You know, even break the Celtics record, but also go for the league record. He just had such good rhythm, so it was pretty cool to see.
Were there conversations about that, like knowing where he was?
Yeah, well, we knew he had 7 at halftime, so we definitely, you know, wanted to make sure that we just kept him involved in the offense. When you got it going like that, when you're that hot shooting, you know, you want to keep it going. So JT and Drew were very conscious of trying to find him.
Did you look up the record at halftime, or do you just know that?
The Celtics record?
Well, and the 15, yeah.
No, I knew. I mean, well, 14 is the record, right? So 15 is to break it. So yeah, we knew. We know that. Like, I mean, I know Clay did it, and it was pretty impressive, and he did it in, was it 3 quarters, maybe? Something like that. It was very impressive. Like, I mean, you know, us shooters, we know those records. And then the Celtic one I knew last year because Derek White came out hot and hit like 7 or 8, ended up like with 9 threes or something like that. So we're very aware of it and pulling for Sam.
You guys have talked about getting the ball to, a hot hand, but doing it within the flow of the offense. How do you go about, when he has 5 or whatever it might have been, getting him more looks, running plays for him, stuff like that?
Yeah, I just think that we just got caught up in just playing our game. What the defense gave us, that's what we took. And within everything, we just did it. And Sam is the kind of guy that he doesn't care. Like, he came in at halftime, he didn't care. He just wants to play the right way. He wants to make the right play, and that's what he's going to do. And as you could see, all the shots that he took were good shots.
The mentality, you guys come in here without 3 starters. What impressed you most about the way you played from the jump?
I think it was our focus. This type of game, they were missing some players, and in the past we've talked about it, like, the performance kind of goes down. We kind of relax a little bit, but I felt like our guys, we were on edge from the beginning. We came out very determined, very focused, and that's what I like most about our group. We were ready to play, and we showed it throughout the game. Even at the end, I feel like the guys can continue that for the whole game.
Sam played great, obviously. Hit 10 threes, 10 for 13. He took a lot of all great shots, and we just did a good job of finding the guy with the high hand. Unfortunately, he had to lead the game. We were trying to get him to break the record, but he seemed to be doing fine.
What kind of discussions did you guys have during the game? Obviously, Al was saying you guys know Clay's record. Obviously, it's get you closer to it pretty quickly. What were you guys talking about?
I mean, it's simple. Just screen for him, get him open, and told him to, if he had any daylight, let it fly.
Jayson, for you at this point in the season, 10 games up in the standings or so, what's the balance for you, continuing to play, stay in that rhythm, and resting? And I know you've said in the past, Brad wants you to rest a lot of the times, and you don't really want to do that. What kind of conversations do you have at this point in the year with him and Joe and everybody?
I mean, I've been here 7 years. They understand kind of what they're dealing with. I don't like to sit out. And, I understand if I was injured or whatever, but I said it before, I just love to play the game, especially on the road. So many fans out there with Tatum 0 jerseys or came to see me play. So I kind of take pride in making sure I'm available as much as I can.
For you typically come out early in the first quarter. A couple times over the last couple of weeks, you've played that full first quarter, including tonight. I know Joe said you and him kind of communicate about that. How does that impact you, or just what's it like being able to get that full rhythm in the first rather than your normal rotation? And what do you think is going to work best for you, come playoff time in that sense?
I think it's just it's a feel thing. Obviously, if I'm in a great rhythm, I understand Joe will probably lead me in. And I think, when we have certain guys out, right, JB normally plays the whole first, and when he's, if I'm playing, he's not, I understand I'm probably going to play that rotation. But, most of my career, I've always came out kind of first and went back in with the second unit. So just what I was used to.
Speaking of the fans tonight, what was it like to play in an away game that was pretty much all green?
It was great. It's become the norm a lot of places we go, and you really appreciate the fans, right? How well we travel with our fan base and the love and support that they show us everywhere we go.
Jayson, playing without 3 starters, number one, what is your mindset going into those games, knowing, like you said, that there won't be JB's not there, KP's not there?
I think more so for the other guys, getting the opportunity to step up and play big minutes. And, that's why we have that stay ready group, right, for days like this, where we can just plug in certain guys in certain positions and moments. And the expectation is that we don't skip a beat, we don't miss a step. So I think for those guys that's coming off the bench that implemented a starting lineup or playing more minutes when guys are out, I think they're always ready, and they work really hard at it, and it shows when it's just seamless, right? Whenever guys are out, we don't really miss a beat.
And you've talked about it. You guys have learned from the past, but I think the way Al phrased it, you were on an edge from the beginning tonight. In other instances, you may have looked past the Wizards. What kind of mentality do you guys have, and why is that different this year?
Understanding what we're trying to do, really just trying to get better every single day, and respecting the game and respecting the opponent by going out there and playing the right way, whether it's a banged-up team who hasn't had a great season or it's a national TV game, trying to go out there with the same mentality every single night.
Jayson, I'm not sure how familiar you were with Justin Champagnie, but he made his first NBA start tonight, and he got the assignment to guard you. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on the matchup and what he brought to the game.
Yeah, obviously he was with us for a lot of portion of the year last season, so obviously happy for him. He's bounced around a little bit, but that's an accomplishment, right? Something you can be proud of. Obviously how hard he's worked to get to this moment to start in an NBA game. Not a lot of people can say that, so I was happy for him.
Last question to Adam.
Jayson, you've obviously been on some really good teams here, but none of them have been positioned like this to kind of dictate your terms over the last 3 weeks of the season. What do you want to kind of extract from these games and kind of gain down the stretch heading into the playoffs? Like, what do you hope in a few weeks to look up and be like, this is useful from this stretch for us?
I think just seeing how different lineups work well with each other. Obviously, like tonight we didn't have 3 guys, and whatever the case may be throughout the rest of the season, I think it's an opportunity for us to try some things, try some different lineups, different rotations, and see what we can do in the playoffs.
Up next, we're right back at you. Monday night, Celtics come home to host the Detroit Pistons, the 12-win Pistons. So you beat the 11-win Wizards, now you play the 12-win Pistons. Remember, Jayson Tatum was joking, if I'm not joking, but just probably really just wondering a couple months ago, when the easy portion of the Celtics schedule was going to begin, because everyone kept saying they had a fairly easy schedule down the stretch. It's finally kicking in a little bit here ever since that Denver game, but there's still a challenge. Celtics will be on the second night of a back-to-back, but so will Detroit. Detroit losing a bit of a heartbreaker against Miami, hung with that team, so it shows that they're still capable, but also their end-of-game execution, well, let's just say it might have been even worse than the Celtics from what we've seen at times this season, and so the Celtics need still to be locked in because Cade Cunningham had a big night, and you know what those guys can do based on the overtime game played here in December, but I'm eager to see just what the Celtics are able to do, especially if we get Jaylen Brown back out there. You'll have Derek White back. Al Horford will rest. I don't know what the plan is here with Kristaps Porzingis. They've definitely tried it cautiously. All with eyes towards Wednesday night, the big showdown with the Bucks. Do the Celtics want to have everybody back and healthy for that one and send a message to maybe the biggest rival in the conference, or do they want to go hard here in the second night of a back-to-back and then downshift with the potential that these two teams could see each other further down the road? There's another game against the Bucks further into the month. So I don't know. We'll see exactly how they play it. The key here for the Celtics is, as long as they take care of business against the bad teams left on their schedule, they will sleepwalk their way to home court advantage for as long as they are in the playoffs. I think the lead is still 6 on the West leader. So it's just a matter of keeping your foot on the gas, but also being aware of what you need to do in order to get everybody healthy and ready for the postseason. More importantly than anything else, Monday night's game is our all-female broadcast. Abby's going to be on color analyst. Amina will be holding it down on the pregame show. And we got a whole slew of guests that are going to take you through this one. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this one. I am eager to hear and just watch this game from afar. I don't know if I'll be able to sneak myself into any of the shows, but I will certainly be watching on my monitor at the Garden for sure, and I hope you guys do as well. I will be back here on the post-game pod, so just keep us locked in. Like I said, 5 games in 7 nights. Got to be a whole lot of post-game pods coming at you. We did have an off-day episode over the weekend, so if you need even more Celtics material to catch up on, did a deep dive on Jaylen Brown and how good he has been since the All-Star break. Let's hope JB is back out there on Monday night. Go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.